Namaste, everyone. I hope you guys are doing great. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is for the fifth house. Let's understand fifth house to the core. Okay, before that, if you guys are new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon below. Also, if you would like to have your personal readings from me, you can check out the link in the description box, www.anmollastrology.com. Under reading and unique reading section, you can book a personal reading for yourself. For courses, you can check out the courses section and you can sign up for online course. Okay, so let's get started. Today's topic is the fifth house. The house which naturally is ruled by the sign of Leo, right? As per the Kalpurush Kundli. So the fifth house is one of the Trikona houses, one of the Dharma Sthan. So this is the house whose element is fire because of the natural presence of the sign of Leo there. Fifth house is also known as the house of our intelligence, Buddhi, Buddhiman. Fifth house is the house of creativity, creative self-expression, arts, artistic nature, children, progeny, speculation, shares, any sort of speculative things, gambling, investments, everything is the fifth house. Fifth house is also the house of love and romance. It's the house of learning, the practice of acting as well. It's the platform. Fifth house is actually the platform. This, everyone who is nowadays a YouTuber, social media influencer, and they do have a platform to speak on or to present themselves upon, that is fifth house. That's why fifth house is also the house of fame. Fifth house is also the finances of your mother, the money or the income of your mother, right? Fifth house is the higher self of your bhagya. Fifth house is the fortune of your father, because it's ninth from the ninth house, bhavad bhavam of the ninth house, higher self of the ninth house. That is the reason fifth house is said to be the Purva Punya that you have carried forward in this life. And also, this is the house which connects you with the blessings of your pitris. And this is the house of mythology, mythological and ancient scriptures, ancient knowledge, history, historical knowledge, politics, political science. Fifth and 11th axis are actually both these houses responsible for political sciences. Fifth house is the house of children. That's why all the professions related to children, either it is pediatrician or it is a teacher, lecturer, anyone where they have to be associated with children or they have to teach something, they have to train others. That is the fifth house. Now, when do we look for fifth house? First thing, whenever you want to see if you are lucky, if luck is by your side, that means you have a strong fifth house. The strength of the fifth house, the strength of the fifth lord is going to decide whether you are lucky, you're born lucky or not. Fifth house is the house of your education. So whatever planet goes into the fifth house, whatever sign fifth house has, and wherever the lord of the fifth house goes, that would decide what kind of education do you get. If you have Ketu in the fifth house, extremely technical and research oriented education you're going to have, but you will have a gap within your education at least once in your lifetime. Also with Saturn, you have certain delays happening within your education background, but with both these planets, a person tends to become very highly knowledgeable. Fifth house is also going to decide how you are going to basically get your education. Is there any gap that is going to be there, or it is going to be smooth? With Mars in the fifth house, not never ever much interested in education, rather are always interested into practical experiments, very much interested into gambling, shares. With Mercury and Moon in the fifth house, extremely into share speculations. You know, why I consider fifth house to be one of the most important houses, because this is the house which is going to tell what kind of decisions do you make, how intelligently you make one decision. Is your decision something that is going to lead you towards your life problems, or you're going to take fine decisions which are going to help you grow? That is the fifth house. Fifth house is going to decide whether a person is successful or a loser, because it all depends on our decisions. Whenever I see a person have strong association of the fifth lord or the fifth house with 6, 8, 12, the Dushtana houses, I know this person would actually learn from their own mistakes and from their own stupid decisions. Also, with Saturn being connected with the fifth house. And if there is a retrograde planet, that means you are going to go back and forth with your decision making mistakes, and then understanding where you were wrong. And now finally you will learn to make healthy decisions. That's why fifth house is extremely important when we need to understand what is the luck that you have carried forward and what is the luck that you're making further for yourself. The birth of the child, the time of birth of the child, that is what you see from the fifth house. How your romantic life is going to be. Are you going to have a love marriage or an arranged one? Are you going to have a lover? Will you have romance within your marriage? That's all what you see from the fifth house. Gambling, a corrupted fifth house, or any association with, suppose, Rahu, Mars, or an afflicted moon, that would address that you will have an addiction to gambling, or even it can give you money from gambling. Now, fifth house is your investment as well. It is the house where you make your investments, right? It is the house which gives you that mindset to put your money aside so as to multiply it. Okay, fifth house is responsible for all the acting, drama skills, all the arts, everything you can think of in those regards. Fifth house is also responsible for collecting the historic items. You'd see some people who have who just have habit of collecting souvenirs or collecting historic items by visiting historical places. That is fifth house. Fifth house is the house of concerts. Fifth house is the house of your command. How strong of a command do you have over your life? Since this house is fourth from the second house, this is the house which shows your happiness from your own earnings and from your family. This house shows the fruits of your income and your family life. This house is the house of your firstborn, your first child. This house is, since it is ruled by Leo, it is ruled by Sun. It shows the respect that you get. It shows what command you're going to have with your personality. Right? So I think that's all. I've almost talked about everything fifth house talks about. Let me just think upon it. Okay. So fifth house is also responsible for your confidence, your risk-taking abilities, because only that way you're going to be a gambler, right? Fifth house is also responsible for love affairs, either love romantic, relationships, if you're unmarried, or in fact, the love or affairs that you have outside of the marriage. For that also, we look for the fifth house. Sorry. Fifth house is also about one's fame and popularity. I think I must have talked about it already. So there are n number of things that we can see from the fifth house. Not all are just the positives, but also negatives. Actually, that works out with every house. But of course, a strong fifth house can do wonders within your life, can give you blessings that, that you haven't even asked for, because that's Purva Punya Bhava, right? But definitely it helps you take good decisions. It helps you grow in life. And on the other hand, if there is a afflicted fifth house or malefics are present there, they can work the other way around. It can make you, very clever, towards getting your own gains, towards becoming a person who is very much about their own self, and want to gain from the others at any cost. And also it could lead to addictions of sex, addiction of alcohol, or even especially gambling. Okay, remember, this is Leo, this is the domain of Leo we are talking about, right? So, guys, this was my analysis about what the fifth house stands for. I hope this helps. We'll see you in the next video on sixth house.